It's no secret that procrastination is a problem we've all faced at some point. As long as humans have existed, we've been dealing with delays, avoidance, and procrastination when it comes to things we care about. When we find temporary solutions to our procrastination issues, we feel enthusiastic and productive. Today we'll discuss how to make those productive moments more regular. In this video, we'll explore the psychology behind procrastination, discuss tried and true models to help you overcome it, and share useful strategies that will help you take action. The concept of procrastination refers to the practice of postponing or delaying the completion of a task or series of tasks. It is the power that stops you from achieving your goals. So, how do you get rid of procrastination? Well, there's more to it than meets the eye. First, you need to figure out why you're doing it in the first place. Figuring out why you procrastinate is the first step to getting rid of it in your daily life. Now's a great time to add a bit of science to the conversation. According to behavioral psychology, there's a thing called time inconsistency. It explains why we get sucked in by procrastination, even when we're trying to do something else. Time inconsistency is the brain's way of thinking about what's important right now versus what's coming up in the future. Think of yourself as having two selves, your present self and your future self. When you're setting goals for yourself, like losing weight, writing a book, or learning a language, you're setting goals for your future self. You're thinking about what kind of life you want to have in the future. Scientists have found that when your brain thinks about your future self, it's easy for you to see the value of doing things that will give you long-term results. But while your future self can set goals, you can't take action. When it's time to decide something, you're not thinking about your future self. Instead, you're thinking about your present self, and scientists have found that your present self likes short-term rewards over long-term ones. Your present self and your future self are fighting. Your future wants to look and feel great, but your present self wants to eat donuts. Everyone knows you need to eat healthy now to stay away from being overweight in the future, but the long-term effects like diabetes and heart failure are still years away. Most young people know saving for retirement is important now, but the benefits won't be seen until they're 70. It's much easier for your present self to understand the value of buying a pair of new shoes than saving $100 for retirement. There are some really good evolutionary reasons why our brains prioritize short-term rewards over long-term ones. This is one of the reasons why you might get up in the morning feeling like you want to do something new, but then you wake up and you're right back where you started. Your brain sees long-term advantages in the future, but it also sees short-term benefits in the present. Here are 6 practical ways to overcome procrastination. Number 1. Break your primary goal into little goals. Part of the reason we put off doing something is because we think it's too difficult. So break it down into smaller pieces and focus on each one. If you're still dragging your feet after you break it down even more. Pretty soon, your project will be so easy that you'll be thinking, this is so easy, I could just do it now. Imagine for a second that I'm working on a new book about how to reach any goal in life. Writing a book at its full size can be a lot of work and can be really overwhelming. But if I just break it down into stages, it's much easier to get through it. All of a sudden, it seems very achievable. After that, I concentrate on the current stage and execute it to the best of my ability without considering the other stages. Once the current stage is completed, I progress to the next stage. Make it a habit to write down what you're going to do. It's easier to get things done when you know exactly what you're doing. Once you cross things off your list, it's easy to look back and see what needs to be done next. Number 2. Change your environment occasionally. The environment we work in can have a big impact on how productive we are. Take a look at your desk or room and see if it makes you want to get to work or just snuggle up and go to sleep. If it does, it's time to switch up your workspace. One thing to remember is that the same environment that used to make us feel inspired can start to lose its power after a while. If you can't work in a public place because of all the people and noise, find a quiet spot to sit and focus. To avoid procrastination, try to get rid of all the distractions in your workspace, both physical and digital ones. For instance, you can put your phone in a drawer so you don't have to get up to look at it. Don't forget to turn off all your notifications and alerts too. It's like unplugging before you plug in and focus. Number 3, structure your projects with specific deadlines. If you don't have a set timeline for your work, it can be tempting to just push it off until it's too late. But don't do that. Instead, break down your project into smaller tasks and create a timeline with deadlines for each one. That way, you'll know you have to finish each task on time. Plus, your timeline needs to be strong. If you don't finish this today, it'll mess up everything else you're planning for the rest of the week. That way, it'll make you feel like you need to act fast. Break your goals down into smaller chunks, like monthly or weekly, and then make a list of tasks you need to do by that date. That way, you know you're on track to meet your goals. Number 4, regulate the number of decisions you make per time. Every action we take has an energy impact. If you find yourself asking yourself, "What do I have to do today?" in the morning, you are setting yourself up for a day of procrastination. If you approach each day without considering how you want to spend it, then you will be devoting a significant amount of energy to making decisions and deciding what to do or not to do. Cut down on how many decisions you have to make in a day by making them before you leave the house and/or forming habits around certain parts of your life to help you be more efficient and not waste time thinking about whether or not to do something. Rather than making decisions on the fly. Establish routines. Establishing a routine of exercising at a predetermined time and day will help to establish a habit, as you will no longer be making decisions about when and at what time to exercise. For example, choosing your clothing the night before instead of the morning, this can be done throughout the week. This will free up your time so you can focus on the big and important things instead of wasting it on the small and insignificant things. Number 5, give yourself breaks. If you're having a hard time fighting off procrastination, don't beat yourself up. You're human, and we all have our moments when we just can't seem to get things done. Don't beat yourself up, just do your best to get past it. Take a break when you're feeling tired or unmotivated. Don't beat yourself up about when you should do something, and you won't be so tempted to procrastinate later. Just switch it up and get back to it later. We're so plugged into the digital world, with music or sound constantly on, it can be really overwhelming and stressful. That's why it's so important to take a break, even if it's just 5 minutes. That way, your mind can stay sharp and you won't feel as tired afterward. Number 6, spend time with people who inspire you to want to do things. I'm pretty sure that if you hang out with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates for 10 minutes, you'll be more motivated to do something than if you just sit around and do nothing. People we hang out with make a big difference in how we act. Of course, it's probably not possible to hang out with them every day, but the idea still works. Find the people, friends, or colleagues that excite you, usually the ambitious ones and the hardworking ones, and spend more time with them. You'll soon learn how to inspire their ambition and drive. Having a partner can make the whole process a lot more enjoyable. It's best if your partner has their own goals and you both stick to them. It doesn't have to be the same goals, but it's better if it is, so you can both learn from one another. Share your projects with your friends, family, and coworkers. Now every time you meet them, they'll want to know how you're doing on your projects. At the end of the day, it all comes down to doing what needs to be done. You can strategize, plan, and dream, but nothing will happen if you don't act. I have never heard of anyone procrastinating their way to success, and I do not anticipate that I will in the foreseeable future. No matter what it is you are putting off, if you wish to achieve success, you must take control of yourself and do it. Remember the words of Napoleon Bonaparte, take time to deliberate, but when the time for action arrives, stop thinking and go in. Thanks for watching. Click on the subscribe button now for more inspirational contents from this channel and to help us reach out to more people.